Hello everybody, welcome to the Very Virgoan channel. My name is Veronica Virgo and I'm here to give you a little advice to get through the Mercury retrograde season of September 2022. If you're here for the first time, thank you so much for visiting. I hope that I can provide you with some great information, and if you are returning because you are a subscriber, thank you, or you are just interested to hear more of what I have to say, I appreciate you coming back. Whoever's here, please like, comment, and subscribe, as I am building this channel from the ground up, and I appreciate every one of my subscribers. I am going to supply you with something special by the end of the month. I'm still trying to figure out what it's going to be, but stay tuned. All right, for tonight or today, whichever time you are watching, Mercury retrograde reading. It is going to be a single card reading from the new Palladini Tarot. I did buy this secondhand, so the box is beaten all to hell, but really great art, and it has my favorite Ouroboros on the back of the card. Some really cool, kind of very graphic design style imagery here, and it's my first time doing a reading of any sort with this deck, and I figure what better time to break it out but the Mercury retrograde season. I'll also be giving you a little bit of a hipster affirmation reading here with the affirmators that I found at Target of all places, and they're very fun and they are truly affirming. So I thought, hey, let's add a little bit of positive energy to this otherwise at least perceived negative time, and then we'll wrap it all up. Okay, let's get started. Let me just do a couple more shuffles and I will tell you a little bit about Mercury retrograde. So most people who watch online tarot readers already know, but for the uninitiated, Mercury retrograde is a time in which the associated planets appear to go backward. So the Mercury retrograde starts on September 9th and it runs through October 1st. Retrogrades are always about 3 weeks and we usually have 4 a year. It starts in Libra and then it goes backward into Virgo. So thinking about what those two signs mean, Libra is traditionally about balance, equanimity, ideas of aesthetic beauty and pleasure. Virgo is about organization, discrimination, understanding limitations and working within them, orderliness. So going from this idea of balance into orderliness, keep that in mind as we go through your reading. So this is a collective reading for every sign, and I'm just going to go through it rapid fire. All right, so let's get started with my very favorite sign, and the sign for which I'm having the hardest time with these cards. The sign for which I am associated, Virgo, and then we'll work from there. All right, let's see what we got here. We have the world, which is associated with fulfillment, harmony, completion, a project coming to its fruition in the period of Mercury retrograde. So this is actually very positive for you, Virgo. If you have any unfinished business that needs accounting, that needs another look at, that needs refinement, that needs another layer of gesso, whatever it may be, this is the time to actually like step back from maybe your active pursuits and I don't know why I put that so far over there, from your active pursuits, and just, you know, take a nice broad brush over everything and see what needs a little adjusting to make it that perfect thing to put out there that we are so hung up on doing. Like, we really want things to be precise and exact, even after we get something, a project, whether it's editing or writing or, you know, your storyboard or a whiteboard presentation for work, you know, whatever it may be, we will go back. Like, we'll sit there while the presentation or the thing or whatever's going on, and we'll go, oh God, if I just let that go like 2 seconds longer, or, you know, because we question our own precision. Even though we're incredibly precise more than any other sign, we're going to get it tip-top shape. So this is the time to do that, because the outside world, as I've already noticed today, is crazy, like near misses on the highway, people angry and honking. Whatever street you go down, it's blocked off, or there's some sort of like road construction going on. It's just nuts. It's like we've been in the shadow here for several days. You know, weird phone calls, things not going through, you know, signs having like, instead of the number for the gas price having a P. You know, I noticed all this today. So we are in a very intense period of Mercury retrograde. So what I want you to do, Virgo, is to take a step back, take a breath. See how excited I was? See how excited I was? You need to pull back. You need to go back to your pet project at the moment, because look, I know you got a bunch going on. Maybe you have time during this 3 weeks to refine all of them so that all of your children are ready to go out at the end of this phase. Okay, I'm going to lay this new Palladini down, and I don't know why I'm reaching in there, because I already had them out. See, there we go. Let's look at our affirmator. Okay, sanctuary. I'm sorry, I'm a little goofy tonight. Good for you. It seems you've earned some time away from the chaos of life. It could be as small as a bubble bath or as big as a trip. Or maybe it's a small trip to a big bubble bath, or a normal-sized trip to a tiny bubble bath, or maybe you tripped and fell in someone's bath. Whatever it is, it's waiting for you with open arms. Just pick your favorite sanctuary and unplug for a bit, especially if a bath is involved. I love this. So take your bath and then get to editing. I'm speaking from experience here. So Virgo, you need to take it easy. Use that Libra time to relax, appreciate the aesthetics, do whatever you want to do with yourself to make yourself feel good and whole and complete and ready, and then dive into those projects, perfect them, and this Mercury retrograde season is gonna be over before you know it. All right, Virgo, moving on to Libra. I just want to do a little bit more shuffling. I hope everybody's doing okay today or tonight, whatever time you're watching. I'm in a particularly good mood. I just started gaming again after decades, and it's so much fun, and I'm getting ready to do it here in about an hour. So I want to get through this Mercury retrograde reading so that I can enjoy going on my seafaring adventure. All right, Libra, 4 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles. So the 4 of Pentacles is about sort of holding on to what you have. It's a card of frugality, of conservation. So maybe you've had a slight windfall, Libra. Instead of going out in this Libra season when you're in your element, you really got to have that new Prada bag, or you really want to buy all the expensive paints to like give your home an upgrade. Just wait a little bit until this Mercury retrograde is over, because you're going to have a tendency to overspend. You got that good idea in your head. You see that coin floating up above your head, but you really need to hold on to your earnings right now, Libra. Otherwise, you might end up in the doghouse, okay, with either your partner or with yourself, and then you'll end up denying it and putting yourself really in the doghouse, all right? Let's see what your affirmator is. Nature. It's time to unleash your inner hippie and step outside of that man-made box. Take a walk in the woods, smell those flowers, hug some trees. You might think you're being ironic, like, look at me, I'm being all tree huggery and stuff, but you'll find that even then, those trees will hug you back. Trees come from a time before irony, and their earnestness is impervious to our jaded humor. If that doesn't make you want to hug them even more, well, I guess you're a robot. Look at this. You got trees behind you, Libra. Get out of your house. You have created your house or apartment to be an absolute show place that you love to show off your own distinctive Libra style, which is going to be different from Libra to Libra as to what they think is hot couture, hot design, right? But instead, go to your nearest park that you've been curious about, wear a sundress or sun pants, sun shorts, whatever you want to put on, because we're enjoying the last of the summer here. You feel that fall chill, and it's in your element because you're at the end of September. And just walk around and appreciate natural beauty. Don't worry about how much you need to spend to upgrade your place. There is a nature upgrade everywhere around us, and it is going to be an absolute splendor here in just a few weeks with all of the different colors. So embrace your inner tree hugger, Libra. Enjoy and appreciate all the gifts that she has given you. Sometimes you get too caught up in your gilded life, and you need to like be more of a Virgo in your appreciation of nature. You guys are right there together, so you have that capability. Go ahead and embrace it. All right, moving on to Scorpio. Scorpio. Do you like my song? The Star. The Star. The Star is a beautiful card. It represents a sense of hope or rejuvenation. It can also represent a time of meditation, which I think we should really focus on here in this time. Because Scorpio, you have a tendency to speak first and act later. You sometimes irritate people by your deep honesty that you will present as, hey, I'm just me being me, or that was just a joke. And sometimes what you need to do is to stop thinking only of yourself. And maybe you need to step back in this Mercury retrograde time, because we're going to have a lot of problems with communication in this time. So it's more likely for you to piss someone off with your words more than normal during this time. So look, we all know you're a star. We all know you're alluring and you're mysterious, and we all want you, but we also know that you can be a bit challenging because you want to be the star. So let's take some time, Scorpio. Let's take a note from Virgo about those baths. Take some healing baths. Look at this. She is bathing. She is naked, she is bathing, and she's emptying and refilling, her cups at the same time. So think of yourself in that way, that by cleansing, you are replenishing. So it's a period of rejuvenation for you, Scorpio. Let's see what your little affirmator is here with the bunnies on the unicorns. All right, divine timing. Everything is timing, and timing is everything. Gladly, I release my concern over timing and let things happen when and as they will. I trust that the divine schedule makers know what they're doing. It can take a long time to reach divine middle management. So look at this. You know, another thing about the star card is that it can represent faith in the process. So I think that's what's going on here with this affirmator card in conversation with your star card. It's saying, hold back if there's somebody, particularly if there's someone important in your life that you want to impress, that you want to say the right things. Give it a gentle, gentle touch, Scorpio, and you'll win them over. They know you're a star. All right, Scorpio, moving into Sagittarius. Sag, you have the Seven of Pentacles. So Sagittarius, you have been working on something very hard, or something that you are working on is going to come to its fruition during the Mercury retrograde period. Now, don't be too caught up in other people recognizing your perseverance and hard work. It will come, but it may not come during this period because there is all kinds of mix-ups and confusion. Hell, it may get attributed to somebody else. Very nicely smile and say, you know, actually that was my project, and give them a big smile, and it'll be taken as not you being defensive, but you just, hey, owning what you've done. So again, as I said with Scorpio, a gentle touch. People will appreciate all that you've put into whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a project at work, an artistic project, you know, redesigning your home for someone you love, something like that. Know that the fruits of your labor will be appreciated, but just take your time and know that it may not come right away. See what your affirmator is. This is incredible. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Okay, Perseverance, Sagittarius. It seems you're on a massive journey right now, and this card has arrived to remind you that you will reach the other side. The mountain you're climbing is huge and formidable, but so is your ability to climb it. You don't need to enjoy it, you just need to tackle it. Complain if it makes the job easier. Blow off steam. You think mountain climbers get to the top of Everest on inspirational quotes? No way! They're grunting and crying and cursing like freaking pirates. That just doesn't sell a lot of posters. So this is wonderful. This is so great when things align like this. So if you have a trusted friend, best if they're outside of your realm of work, because then sometimes it can look like, you know, you're grousing on the job and not a team player and those sorts of things. If you have a trusted friend that you can talk through this process and bounce ideas off of them, and yes, complain if you need to during this period. It will help you blow off steam and feel better about this wonderful thing that you've created. There's 7 elements of it, or you've spent 7 months or 7 weeks or something on it. There's significance here with the 7, and I'm so proud of you, Sagittarius. You've done such an amazing job. Know that, again, like I said, you will be recognized for your work, and if you've got a trusted friend to blow off steam with during this difficult period so that you can come out a star like Scorpio, then please avail yourself of their kindness and their willingness to hear you out. All right, good stuff. All right, Capricorn, what is your Mercury retrograde message? Knight of Pentacles. We have a lot of people focused on livelihood and material things thus far. So the, what is it? Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so the Knight of Pentacles represents hard work and responsibility. You know, one thing that I notice when I do these readings, and I'm sorry, I have to take just a little drink because I'm super parched, is that signs that are side by side tend to bleed over into each other in terms of their needs and their desires. So, you know, it's just kind of cool to see that through line, that you can take a message from the sign that is closest to you, especially if you're a cusper. Anyway, Knight of Pentacles, this has to do with, as I said, hard work, responsibility, efficiency, accomplishments. It's like you're presenting. I would pull out the 7 of Pentacles again, but it's kind of like where the 7 of Pentacles was sort of looking over their accomplishments. The Knight's like, here it is, finished product. So from the Virgo through Capricorn here, we've got people who have projects that they're working on. And you are ready to present, Cap. You've even pulled back your, I forget what that piece is called on armor, but you pulled it back and you're like, yes, my queen. And by the way, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. That happened today. And this like pageantry here just made me think of it. I don't know what sign she was, actually. I want to say she was born in June. I'll have to check that later. Anyway, so Capricorn, you are ready to present your hard work. So again, just like with Sag, don't be too upset if it's not received with the pageantry you have presented it. Capricorn is probably the hardest worker of the zodiac and really defines themselves through their work. So you're going to take even more of a gut punch than Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a philosopher and a dreamer, and maybe they can think like, oh, well, you know, they didn't understand where I was coming from. Where you're like, this is a tangible piece of work that I did for you. Do you know how much sweat equity I put into this? Do you know how many work hours I put into this? But just chill until after October 1st, because you will be recognized. Capricorns will make sure they're recognized, you know, and that's not an insult. It's deserved. It's deserved because you are incredible manifestors. So just hang in there and know that all this pageantry will eventually be returned. If not by whomever you're preparing it for, by others, by your friends, by your lovers, by society. Okay, here's your affirmator. Worthiness. I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. I deserve and accept it, and damn it, I'm not going to feel guilty about it when I get it. Guilt is not invited to my happiness party. I won't even tell him where it is. If he asks about it, I'll be like, no, I think you're thinking of somebody else. And then I'll run away very quickly. This is for the more shy Capricorns. I would guess that out there somewhere there are some self-effacing Capricorns. You're not, I mean, you're prideful, but you're not showy. Like, you're not like, well, none of us earth signs are particularly showy, but I think of like Leo, you know, where they want to be recognized for their contributions. Capricorn wants to be recognized, but at the same time, it's sort of like they don't want a big fuss made over them. They just want to be appreciated and compensated well. But it may be that some of you are dealing a little bit with the worthiness of this. Like, wow, this is my first major project. This is my first multi-million-dollar obligation, right? You are worth it, Capricorn. You've always been worth it. You've always been worth it. So believe in the process. This seems to be a theme tonight, and I am A-okay with that, because we have to stay focused in the next 3 weeks, because the universe is going to throw every challenge at us possible. All right, and moving forward to Aquarius. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I believe we actually are in the age of Aquarius, if I'm not mistaken. So you're kind of in your element right now, Aquarians. 7 of Cups for you. Move to a new suit finally. 7 of Cups. So Aquarius, you have been doing quite a bit of daydreaming, thinking about where's the right fit for you. Look at all those different options. I think you are presented with options in love in particular, but it could also be career or life choices. If you're thinking of maybe doing something completely different with your life, you know, I want to just pick up and buy an RV and just travel across the United States for a while, or something like that, because I think about that myself. Cups typically will lean toward love, but I'm also seeing like travel and ideas here. I mean, you have fire, water, you have a snake, you have sun, the moon, a rainbow, and then all of this foliage. And these are all things you would see in travel. So Aquarius, I think this would be a really great time not to buy an RV and not to set out to travel, but to decide how to do it. Make yourself a game plan. Make yourself a travel plan. Make yourself a budgeting plan so that you can get to this dream you've been having that maybe you haven't even told anyone else about. But the Mercury retrograde time, because travel and communication is going to be so fucked up, you need to sit down and make a plan. And you are an air sign, so you're good at that. You're good at ideas and thoughts. You just got to get them down. And guess what? We pulled the worthiness card again. I'll read it again. I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. I deserve and accept it. And damn it, I'm not going to feel guilty about it when I get it. Guilt is not invited to my happiness party. I won't even tell him where it is. If he asks about it, I'll be like, no, I think you're thinking of something else. And then I'll walk away very quickly. So Aquarius, don't apologize for your rich mind and all these different ideas that you're entertaining. It doesn't mean that you're, you know, someone who just kind of goes with the flow and doesn't have any plans or whatever. You have very distinct plans in your mind for every outcome. Now you just need to put it to paper so that you can evaluate each one and know that each one of these ideas is equally worthy and equally valid. You just have to decide which path to take, because unfortunately, you know, we're on one timeline here. We may be on another timeline elsewhere and they're deciding to do a different thing, but you have to decide, well, I can't hold these up for some reason. You have to decide what to do in this timeline. Okay? And this period during Mercury retrograde is going to help you be able to do that. So do your checks and balances. If you're so far ahead that you can pick up and take off after October 1st, then more power to you. Get yourself a AAA account and get you a triptych if they even do that anymore. It's probably all electronic now. And go find yourself. Go find a new journey, Aquarius. I'm excited for you. All right, Pisces. Look at all that. My goodness. Well, this don't bode well. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Pisces. I've just lived with you, and I have a mother who is you, so I know how difficult you can be. You're my astrological opposite, so you know we love each other and we hate each other. So let's see what I got for you. 3 of Rods. That is the Wands. 3 of Rods. Okay, so this is looking ahead. You can see that the person is looking out. I think it's supposed to be looking out at the sea. The perspective is a little bit off, but this is you thinking about how to expand parts of your life. Maybe at work you've been saddled with a job that is a $3 million job or a $300,000 job or something like that, in which you are supposed to determine how to expand the growth of your company. Maybe there's a 3-way decision you're trying to make and you're still struggling with that. But whatever decision you make, it's going to give you a level up in your life. Almost like a video game. You are going to feel emboldened by it. You are going to have so much internal growth, Pisces. But here's the thing. Don't make the decision between now and October 1st. Think about it. Like with Aquarius, write down the things you're thinking about. Do the pro and con list for everything. Think it through. Write it down. And then execute whatever action you think is the best, Pisces. Don't go with the flow on this. Really think it out. You are wonderful at intuition. So let that intuition inform you, but don't make a knee-jerk response, okay? Wait until after October 1st. These 2 cards are sticking together on me. Okay, it's weird. These 2 cards are sticking together, so Pisces, I'm going to give you both of them. They are manifestation and abundance. Manifestation. If you could have anything you wanted, what would it be? Get specific and get greedy. You're holding a magic wand. Look at this. You're holding a magic wand and you can conjure up anything. Could it be that when you declare your wishes out loud, you're actually casting a spell for your dreams to come true? Or is it just that, in a very practical sense, the more people you speak with about your desires, the more folks there are to know who know what you want and might have the means to help you make them happen? Either way, stop waiting and start manifesting, but don't use that word if you don't want to. Okay, so whatever you're dealing with here has an element of money and prosperity to it, because these 2 cards shuffled came up together. This is amazing. And you're even wearing a green cloak. So I don't think this is about relationships here, Pisces. I think this is about money, money, money. All right, abundance. Congratulations. It seems you're due for an infinitely big piece of abundance pie. Feel like you don't deserve it? Knock it off. It's already plated and ready to hit your table. Reluctant to take it? Shut your hole. Abundance pie is big enough to serve everyone. So get your whipped cream ready, unless you're lactose intolerant, and enjoy your well-deserved metaphorical dessert. This is great. So I used to work in nonprofit, and I went around to different people, let's just leave it at that, and tried to convince them to register for social benefits. This is people in low-income communities and stuff like that. And a lot of times they would say, well, I don't want to take it away from the people who really deserve it. And they already deserved it, but they had this idea that they weren't poor enough to accept it. And I explained to them how there are so many hundreds of thousands of dollars that are allotted into these programs, and when they don't take advantage of it, then those monies just go back into the kitty, right? So they should really take advantage of it if they need it. This is not me telling you to get on social assistance, but I'm trying to give an example from what this abundance card is telling you. So kind of with the other two signs, if you feel like, Pisces, that you don't deserve it, you're wrong. You just need to make a plan. You tend to go by the seat of your pants because you're very intuitive, but that doesn't always steer you the right way. You know, you end up sort of squandering your time for the pleasure of the moment versus a solid plan. So I'm just telling you, Pisces, go get it, because you deserve it, and make a choice. Just don't act upon it until after October 1st. All right, Pisces, wonderful. That means that Aries is up next. My Aries friends full of fire. I've had the advantage of having several Aries friends in my life, and they are crazy effing drivers. But I love their spirit and their energy, and they're ready to go. They're ready to go for any adventure, and I just love that about you, Aries. High Priestess. High Priestess. It's a gorgeous card. Look how beautiful she is. She's bringing it. All right, so the High Priestess is representing a certain level of wisdom and intuition, an inner voice. In one of my decks, not this one, but in one of my decks, it's based on the Greek myths, and the High Priestess is represented by Persephone, who went into the underworld to spend half the year with Hades and then came out during the season that things were fertile. And I always think of that whenever I get the High Priestess card, in that she sort of sacrifices herself for part of the time in order to reap these wonderful benefits, these wonderful attributes that benefit the world. And so I'm telling you that right now, that there's a certain level of wisdom or unconscious knowledge that you have reached recently, Aries. And I think you're ready to share it with the world. But again, as with the other signs, take your time over these next 3 weeks and write it out. You know, everybody has a story. Everybody has knowledge to share. And I think it would be really great for you to work that into some sort of product. It's interesting because it's like a scroll. But you know what I see when I look at this, because I grew up in rural Appalachia, I see a rolling pin. And at first I thought it said tuna, but it says Tura. I'm not sure what that represents. That might be from Kabbalah or something. But I mean, you never know how your product's going to manifest. Maybe you're great in the kitchen. I mean, you're a fire sign. Maybe you bake like a mother, right? There's some level of knowledge here, Aries, that I think is ready to be packaged, whether that's knowledge, an actual product, you know, something like that. Put it together, make your plan during the Mercury retrograde. Don't put it out there until after October 1st. I sound like a broken record here, but it's very important to go back and refine, check, develop, do all those things during Mercury retrograde, rather than putting yourself out there, okay? Do it after October 1st. Here's your affirmator. Positive thinking. In the garden of my mind, I water the good thoughts and weed out the bad ones. I throw in forgiveness and empathy. I throw in forgiveness and empathy seeds by the handful if I want, and I take a lawnmower to that jealousy and resentment patch. I'm a pretty badass mind gardener. Well, you know what? If you garden, maybe that's a knowledge base that you can share with somebody, Aries. Just saying. But use this time to nurture yourself, water yourself, douse those fires just a little bit until it's time to put your product, whatever it is, out into the world. And you are going to be high priestess, no gender ascribed here, high priest of your thing, for lack of better words. So we left off with Taurus. Taurus, let me just give you one more good shuffle, and Harry has joined us here, Harry the Lump, for your reading, Taurus. All right, Taurus, you have the Nine of Cups for the Mercury retrograde season. The Knight of Cups represents someone who is carrying their heart in their hand, almost. You are an idealist, as is Harry, because he's finding this card very delectable. You're romantic. Perhaps you have some notions about someone that you're deeply interested in, and you want to lay it all out for them, Taurus. I think it is beautiful for you to follow your heart. However, as I've been advising with most people, I would avoid laying out all of your feelings until after October 1st, just because communication could get so screwed up during the Mercury retrograde that something you say might be taken the wrong way. Maybe it won't land the best way. Maybe you overshare and you reveal more of yourself than you really intended to, even though you're in a space where you want to share. I just have a feeling that it might not end up as well as if you just waited a little bit. Rehearse it in the mirror. I know that sounds silly, and I'm not telling you to play act, but if your emotions are real, they're going to drive the things that you say. But think about how you want to approach this person. I'm so sorry that Harry decided to lick his bum right in the middle of my reading, and that is in no way a reflection upon your heart or your desires, Taurus. But maybe you should, here's something else that I'm seeing with this imagery. Maybe you should think about drinking from that cup while Mercury retrograde is going on. And what I mean by that is some self-love. If you have come out of a relationship and, you know, you're still wounded from that, if you have not been in love or had love in your life in a while, you know, there's a lot of business at home that you need to take care of before you can move forward with loving someone else. So what I say is drink deeply from this cup that you have created that is filled with emotion and with that desire to love someone else. Drink it yourself. Find that inside you, and then when you finally do come to this person after Mercury retrograde's over, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to flower. You see those flowers? All right, let's see what your affirmator is to support, hopefully, this card. Story of my life. As I tell myself the story of what's happening in my life, I choose to make it the kind of story where even the tough parts have a sort of inner beauty. It's ultimately a happy story where every character, no matter how wicked, is doing their best. And let me tell you, it'll be worth it when I earn that Pulitzer Prize for Best Inner Monologue. There you go. See, this guy is, Harry, for Pete's sake. This guy is ready to give the flowers, just like you are ready to give those flowers. But you have to get your internal dialogue squared away before you can be the best in love. I mean, it's not that it's saying you're a snake, that like the snake has made himself vulnerable to the mouse instead of being a predator. And I'm thinking that maybe if you come at someone even as earnestly as you feel with that cup during Mercury retrograde, you might be seen as slightly predatory. So what you have to do is develop your own story of your life. Figure out who you are, who you were, and who you want to be, Taurus. And then whomever is the object of your affections, which I feel it, it's so strong and it's so beautiful. I mean, even the pink of the flowers is met with the pink of this card. It's going to be golden. So moving on to Gemini. Hopefully Harry won't interact with the cards quite as much as he was doing with Taurus. All right, Gemini, let's see what is on tap for you during Mercury retrograde. King of Swords. It's a really beautiful card. So the King of Swords is king for a reason. He has been through everything. He has seen everything. He has fought every battle. He has a certain amount of resolution and resolve in his expression. You're going to get anything over on the King of Swords. But unlike the Queen of Swords, who can be harsh in her sizing up of a situation or being judgy or that sort of thing, the King of Swords, the King of Swords is about discipline. So Gemini, the King of Swords is taking into account less of the precision of truth, you know, let's get to it, we don't care who we hurt to get there, and more about considered decision, precision, and understanding and gaining the truth. So he's still able to access his heart, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to a sort of internal understanding given all of the different scenarios that he's had to live out in his life, in love and in war, and sometimes in both. So what I'm seeing is during this time, Gemini, you may be trying to make your choice about someone. Maybe you're on the fence about whether or not you want to get involved with someone, either in love, in business, some sort of contractual thing. I would say, rather than making any decision and even considering the intuition that is communicated by this card, I think you should do your homework. If it's something that is as serious as like expanding your company that costs lots and lots of money, you know, hire a private investigator, and then with that layered over, make your gut instinct decision, because you do have a lot of insight, Gemini. And also, you know, don't be afraid to go to the source for this, however it is, whether it's in business or love. Don't be afraid to express yourself, because A, you're a Gemini and you're great at that, and B, this is someone who comes in with a certain knowledge that people defer to. A certain level of respect that people give to you simply because you've lived a lot of lives and you understand the human condition very well. So don't be afraid to ask questions of this person that you are considering getting involved with in whatever capacity. And also, I don't know why it could be slightly, because the character to me does have sort of an Asian look, both in dress and style. But if you've been considering doing martial arts, I think this is a good time to research different dojos and trying to decide if that's something you'd like to do. First off, what kind of martial art, because there's tons of them. Taekwondo is the most famous, but there's all little subsections, you know, Wing Chun Do and Aikido and things like that. So if you're interested in those sorts of things, this would be a good time for you to do your research in your community and see if you want to work with someone. And I'm not trying to do like some sort of like ethnic signaling or anything like that. It's just this, the design of this is, it makes me think a bit of like a gung fu kind of character. Okay, so what is your affirmator? Impermanence. Life is always changing, and I drift easily through those changes, good and bad. As I drift through the hard times, I can take comfort in knowing that I will leave them behind. As I drift away from good times, I can take comfort in knowing that more will come my way. Impermanence is an equal opportunity non-entity. Equal opportunity non-entity. I like that. I like that a lot. So taking it in conversation with this card, what I'm seeing is that the reason you have reached this level of sort of understanding and resolve and calmness, Gemini, is because you've lived through some painful times in relationships, business or pleasure or romantic or whatever. And maybe you've lamented that a bit, so that's why you're sort of waffling as to whether or not to get involved with this new person. Know that you don't have to drag your old relationships into your new relationships, because everything is truly impermanent. I am now older than I was when I started this reading. I'm going to continue to get older until I die. But what I don't want to do is unplug from the world and say, like, what's the point? I'm just dying anyway, right? Everything is impermanence. And just like these beautiful waves here, you enjoy them as they come and wash over you. Even if you're in a paper boat, you try to ride out those waves and appreciate the beauty of them and know that more are coming. Wow, we got quite philosophical there. All right, Gemini, I hope that brings you some insight. Moving on to Cancer. Sometimes I will pull a jumper and sometimes I will not. This time I will, because that one turned itself face up. Bad shuffle or not. Look at this. Wheel of Fortune. Oh my goodness. So Wheel of Fortune. All right. So this means you have gone through some sort of big change or cycle in your life. So this is showing all the different changing of seasons. And I feel like, Cancer, you are coming out of something that really made you reevaluate your entire existence. Sort of how you fit in the world. You know, the world is, it's the last card in the deck, but the wheel is halfway through. So I would say you're halfway through to understanding who you are, Cancer. You're going to have many more trials, but this one that just happened was a big ass deal. So what I would say is use this time to do some sort of act of creation around what you've just experienced, what you've just learned. This is big time stuff, Cancer. This is stuff that you'll be telling your children about, like everything changed when thus and such happened, right? So if you have any sort of arts bent at all, writer, singer, performer, you know, whatever you do, beat poet, do some creativity around this change that you have gone through, because I think it's only going to help you move forward into the next change and the next change, so that then you can truly start to embrace who you are and what your life is about. And that sounds pretty heavy duty, but this is why I do these readings, because I want to help people dive deep into themselves psychologically through a non-scientific and aesthetic pursuit. I'm open to the idea that now and again I'm being guided, particularly when things really sync up card-wise, but you can also take them as mere symbols and Jungian symbols, if you will, because I really subscribe to those concepts. I don't know why I'm elaborating on this, but I feel like somebody needs to hear it. So Cancer, do some artistic work. Even if you never picked up a paintbrush or you never thought of yourself as a writer, whatever, you might surprise yourself, because you've been through so many changes and it can help other people. Here's your card, Authenticity. Authenticity is the name of the game. Whatever comes up, I will fill it. Whatever needs to be said, I will say it. Whoever doesn't get it doesn't have to get it, but at least they know it because I've said it. And that's way better than leaving a passive-aggressive note about it. Now that's kind of interesting because Cancers, and I say this with all the love because I am a Cancer rising, sometimes we can be a little passive-aggressive in the way that we hold things against people that they don't even really know themselves. Like maybe they're just clueless, maybe they're cruel, who knows, but like we'll store it up inside and get really mad until we explode. And while that may be our authentic self, what may have happened here during this period where you've, created this change in yourself is you're no longer that person. You've become someone who's able to express yourself and truly express your needs. And that's what this card is saying. I mean, there's the typewriter right there. So, go to some, Goodwill or something and get yourself an old typewriter and some tape and like typing tape, whatever that stuff's called, the carbon, and try something new, like type a novel on a typewriter about your experiences, and it could really be a beautiful thing. But basically you're stepping into a new version of yourself, and someone needs to know about it. Don't hold this in. Don't hold in this experience for yourself, Cancer. All right, very nice. Moving on to Leo, the last of our retrograde readings for Mercury. You've got the ultimate Leo, Harry, here with his little toesies, representing Leo. The Chariot. Such a gorgeous card. The Chariot is actually a Cancer card, and Cancer was just before you. I talked about this in a couple of the earlier readings, that I find that this, from sign to sign, they sort of are in conversation as well as a sign's own cards. So Cancer, I was talking about how they needed to step into this new paradigm that they were experiencing with the Wheel of Fortune. And what you are doing as Leo, you're taking up the Cancer mantle and you are moving forward with it. You have taken the reins, you are charging forth, you are springing into action. So this card represents like a real strong willpower, or like a sense of direction, Leo. So maybe you've already been doing some soul searching. You're thinking about the next project, the next thing you want to tick off on your list, the next aspirational project. And again, with the Mercury retrograde, this is a great time for planning. You want to charge forth. You're a Leo, you're very fiery, you're like, let's do it now, let's do it now, let's launch the business here on the 9th. Well, I believe in you, Leo, and if there was ever a go-getter of the Zodiac, it's you. But I also want you to make sure, just like we do before we go on a trip, we make sure we got our keys and our passport and some extra gum and some water and put some oil in the car, right? So make sure you have a good strategic plan before you take those reins and take off. And I can't tell you to not start during the retrograde, but I would advise it. October 1st, that's the end of it. So, okay, you can start then. Maybe the 3rd would be better. But Leo, just keep that in mind as you charge forth into your next big life event. All right. Your affirmator, well, it's the same as Cancer. Authenticity. Authenticity is the name of the game. Whatever comes up, I will feel it. Whatever needs to be said, I will say it. Whoever doesn't get it, doesn't have to get it. And but at least they know it because I've said it. And that's way better than leaving a passive-aggressive note about it. Well, I think Leos, you may create a little bombast around yourself, but you're still very much who you are. Leos are just You know, you're vibrant, you're loud, you're passionate, you love fiercely, you get angry fiercely, right? So embrace that. You don't need to tamp it down during the Mercury retrograde, but given that it's talking about authenticity, you may want to look for those spaces in yourself that aren't spoken up as much. The internal thoughts. You know, we have this typewriter here that's a vessel for channeling our internal thoughts. So maybe you should do some writing during this period. While you're making this strategic plan, do some personal writing, maybe some journaling and thinking about how you want to look on the other side of this project. Yeah, I think that's good. I like that. I'm going to leave that where it is, Leo. And that is it for the Mercury retrograde readings. Thank you so much. Harry thanks you too. And I will see you tomorrow for the full moon readings.